Minus One.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Oe and I got a movie review for you all today. I know it's been a while. It's been a good minute. Some might say I retired. Some might say I quit. But that matters not, for I am back. And it took a really big movie to bring me back. And it doesn't get any bigger than Godzilla. And if you've been on this channel before, you know that I absolutely love Godzilla. And that's what I'm back. That's what brought me back. The big man inspired me to come back to YouTube and review this glorious movie that is Godzilla Minus One. You all know I love the legendary Godzilla series. Godzilla King of the Monsters is my favorite Godzilla movie from Legendary. I love that movie. And I've had a good time. They're good popcorn movie films. And yeah, I have a good time with those movies. And I just overall love Godzilla. You put Godzilla in any movie, I'ma like it. But this movie transcends all the popcorn, theatrics of just being, just a regular monster movie. Just watch shit blow up. This is a masterpiece in filming. I'll say that right off the back. This is just an amazing movie. And I'm happy to say that. Because this movie of Godzilla Minus One brings back Godzilla to his roots of being just an unstoppable force that humanity has to fight, and it makes this movie so much more terrifying because it brings Godzilla back to his roots. Now, Godzilla Minus One centers around a disgraced kamikaze pilot as he tries to form a life post-World War II in Japan, but his world is turned upside down once again when he encounters Godzilla, who begins a reign of terror all across Japan. And that's pretty much the plot. It's sort of like the original 1954 Gojira, in that aspect where Godzilla is back as a bad guy and Japan has to fight him off again. But this movie is a more personal story. It's also an emotional journey of this kamikaze pilot who, he's a kamikaze pilot who failed. Kamikaze pilots are supposed to, nosedive into enemy ships and whatnot and just kill themselves. But this kamikaze pilot, he failed. So he sees himself as a disgrace to his country, as some people also do because he didn't fulfill his duty. So you have this character, trying to thrive in a post-World War II era, which that's what I loved about this movie. Minus the monster stuff, minus the action, I loved exploring this world and this character trying to, make a life for himself post-World War II in a country that's trying to, find their identity. Japan is in such a rut because of World War II and suffering defeat and whatnot that at the core of the story, you have the human story of the kamikaze pilot trying to redeem his past, and then you have Japan's redemption, trying to find its identity and inspiration after World War II. I mean, I was so engrossed with the emotional journey of this pilot and the people he meets along the way. He meets a young lady who adopted a child that survived air raids in Japan. So there are other supporting characters in this movie that I liked a lot. I liked every single character in this movie. And the acting was fantastic. The acting was great, especially by our lead character. He goes through a lot. He's suffering from PTSD, survivor's guilt, and also having Godzilla being his arch nemesis throughout the whole movie. So, the human story was such a pleasant surprise in this movie. Because we all know if you watch Godzilla and monster movies, usually you're like, alright humans, get the hell out of the way. I'm trying to see giant monsters blow shit up. But honestly, I love the human element of this story. So I'll get that off the bat. And before I get to the main event, which is Godzilla himself, also this movie, the direction, the cinematography, the music was amazing. The special effects, for having a budget of under $20 million, I really can't complain about any of the special effects. There's some times where There's close-up shots of Godzilla and some tanks and stuff, and you're like, that kind of looks like a video game just a little bit. But it's not enough for me to nitpick it for this movie having a budget that's literally like smaller than a tenth of your average Disney or Marvel movie. And it's amazing what they accomplished with this budget. So kudos to Toho for once again delivering a great Godzilla movie. Because their last movie was Shin Godzilla, which was also really good. But this movie, Godzilla Minus One, way above Shin Godzilla. And I liked Shin Godzilla a lot. So yeah, I really can't nitpick anything in this movie. Yeah. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the big man, Godzilla, Goji himself. He is freaking terrifying in this movie, and I absolutely love the design of Godzilla in this movie. This is the meanest I've ever seen Godzilla. He is angry. You're gonna get plenty of Godzilla, and whenever he's on screen and after he's on screen, it'll stick with you because every time he does anything, he is just a destructive force of nature that everyone should be scared of. And there's so many great scenes with Godzilla. There's a chase scene in the middle of the ocean. Of course, his rampage throughout the city of Ginza, I think it is, Shinagawa. I'm not sure what city he destroys in this movie. I do wish some of the destruction scenes with Godzilla, especially in the city, his little rampage in the city, I wish that lasted a little longer. But for what we got and afterwards, what happens, it felt like a long-ass time because the destructive force of Godzilla in this movie is incredible. This is the most destructive form of Godzilla I've ever seen. His atomic breath and heat rays, I mean, there's a reason why it's called atomic breath. And when he does it in this movie, whenever he does it in this movie, you're just like, holy shit. His atomic breath in this movie would give Dr. Oppenheimer even more nightmares than he already has. That's how scary his atomic breath is in this movie, and it's just visually stunning anytime he does it. And the way his dorsal fins come out of his tail and his back every time he charges, oh, it is awesome. It is awesome. Godzilla did not disappoint. There are some times where he's moving, he looks a little stiff, and then there's times where he's moving like really fast, like the legendary Godzilla. So the movement of Godzilla in this movie felt a little inconsistent at times, I'll say that, but the design, the way he looks, the way he sounds, 10 out of 10. Godzilla was a 10 out of 10. So Godzilla will not disappoint you in this movie. He is amazing. And I hope we get to see this version of Godzilla again. I'm not going to say any spoilers or anything, but I hope, and I think we will, see this version of Godzilla again. And whether he'll be a bad guy, whether he'll fight another giant monster, I don't care. I just want to see this version of Godzilla again. I think I still lean towards the legendary Godzilla just a little bit because he is a hero. That version of Godzilla is a hero, and he did whoop King Kong's ass. Something I've always wanted to see. So I'm glad that happened. But this Godzilla, man, he is terrifying and just a force to be reckoned with. And I loved every second of this movie. Like I said, it's the best Godzilla movie in the last 20 years or whatnot. And it's a cinematic masterpiece. I can't find any negatives with this movie. I loved it. I can't wait to see it again. I'm going to go ahead and give Godzilla Minus One a 10 out of 10. It gets my certified O face.
Oh. You know what I'm talking about. Oh. Yeah.
So, that's my review of Godzilla Minus One. my first review I've done in the last 6 months. It just brought inspiration back to me to come back into the game, and I've actually been watching some good movies out there that I'm catching up on, and some good series that are, bringing hope back into my YouTube career. Because after you've watched so much junk and trash out there, you feel uninspired, which is why I took a break from YouTube for a bit. But I do plan on coming back regularly. I don't know what the next movie or next thing I'll review or talk about is, but doesn't matter. Your boy's back. I'm glad to see you all. I hope you're glad to see me. So that's the video. That's my review of Godzilla Minus One. If you liked it, make sure you click the like button. Hit the subscribe button as well to see me again. And I will see you all next time. See ya.